The void of space stretched endlessly, a dark ocean sprinkled with distant suns and wandering planets. In this vast emptiness, fleets of alien races moved like schools of fish in a cosmic current. Sleek cruisers glimmered with metallic scales, while enormous dreadnoughts drifted silently, their immense size dwarfing moons. Sensors on every ship constantly scanned the darkness, looking for threats or perhaps opportunities. Among these fleets, a shadow moved differently. It did not glide like the others. It did not hum with the alien frequencies that signaled power to their kind. It carried an aura of quiet authority, a presence so strong that even distant fleets seemed to sense it before their instruments could. The ship was called the HSS Invictus, and it had just entered the neutral zone of the Galactic Union. No one had seen it coming. Built in secrecy by the Terran Federation, the Invictus was a human creation unlike any the galaxy had ever known. While humans were considered reckless and slow to adopt alien technology, they were also clever in ways others rarely understood. They mixed imagination with practicality, intuition with science. This ship was the embodiment of that blend, a warship that could not only fight but think, anticipate, and adapt. From the bridge of the Invictus, Captain Elira Knox watched the stars drift by. She was a woman of calm determination, her dark eyes reflecting the infinite void. Every crew member aboard moved with quiet precision, as though they all understood that what they carried was not just a weapon, but a promise. "Sensors report multiple fleets approaching," said Lieutenant Aaron, the young but brilliant tactical officer. "They're scanning us." Intensely. Knox nodded. "Let them scan. They'll see what they want. But they won't understand us. Not yet." The fleets surrounding the neutral zone were a mix of curiosity and caution. Humans had always been on the edges of galactic politics, tolerated but never fully respected. Many races whispered about humanity's past conflicts and quick adaptability, calling them reckless primates who dreamed too big and acted too fast. No one expected a human fleet to hold even a candle to their war machines. Yet the Invictus was different. Unlike most human ships, it was massive but not heavy or cumbersome. Its hull was a smooth blend of alloys and composites, layered in ways that reflected energy attacks harmlessly into space. Its engines were silent, not because they were weak, but because humans had found a way to bend the energy of space itself into propulsion. As the ship moved, the fleets around it adjusted their positions, uncertain. Even the most experienced commanders could not read the Invictus. Its presence caused their instruments to flicker, leaving gaps in data that made the fleet officers uneasy. "This ship," muttered Admiral Lorikith of the Aurelians, watching from her flagship. Her crystalline eyes shimmered in disbelief. "It shouldn't exist. Nothing like it should exist." Her second-in-command frowned. "It's just a human ship, Admiral. We've fought them before. They're clever, but they are limited." Lorikith shook her head. "Limited? You cannot see it yet. There is something here, something alive in its metal." On board the Invictus, Knox smiled faintly at nothing. Her crew worked in harmony, their movements precise, rehearsed yet flexible. She often thought about how humans adapted. They learned quickly, yes, but more importantly, they understood what others could not. They could predict, improvise, and survive when all logic said it was impossible. "Captain," said Aaron, pointing to the main screen, "the fleets are forming observation patterns. They are waiting for something to happen." Knox leaned forward. "Good, let them wait. Humans do not show all their cards at once." The Invictus's main core began to hum softly, a sound that was almost imperceptible, yet filled the ship with energy. It was more than propulsion. It was a fusion of human technology and an ancient alien artifact recovered from ruins beyond known space. This artifact, combined with human engineering, gave the Invictus abilities no other ship could replicate. Shields layered in cascading frequencies, weapons that could bend space itself, and sensors that could read threats before they existed. In the alien fleets, alarms began to sound. The hum of the Invictus was subtle, but it caused their instruments to go haywire. Ships blinked in and out of radar, beams warped unnaturally, and energy readings spiked without warning. Even the most confident officers felt unease prickling at their minds. "Reports are coming in," said Lorikith. "Their shields. I don't understand. They're not responding to our scans," one of her captains added, "and their engines, they're moving without energy output. It's as if they're not using energy at all." Lorikith's jaw tightened. Humans were supposed to be limited, predictable. Yet here, at the edge of the galaxy, a single ship carried power beyond imagination. Back on the Invictus, Nox walked through the corridors, observing her crew. Each of them had trained for years, some from childhood, to operate this ship. Yet their training was not just technical. They understood human philosophy, that strength without wisdom was meaningless, and power without restraint could destroy everything it sought to protect. "Report." "Ensign," she said to a young communications officer. "All clear, Captain. No signals from the aliens indicate hostile action." "Yet," Nox nodded. "Good, keep monitoring. Remember, we are here to show possibility, not fear. Let them see humans at our best." The Invictus approached the neutral zone's center, where observation satellites floated like silent watchers. Aboard these satellites, representatives from dozens of alien races waited. They expected a demonstration, a minor show of capability, perhaps a few lasers fired in controlled drills. Then the Invictus paused. Its engines stopped as though it were a rock floating in space. The stars reflected off its hull, making it shimmer with strange, almost living light. And then it happened. The main core flared. Energy spread across the ship's surface, folding light into itself, creating a spectacle so beautiful that even the hardened alien observers gasped. It was not destructive. It was a statement, a display of human engineering, human creativity, human audacity. This is impossible," whispered a Vraxian commander. The Vraxians were known for their iron logic and fearlessness. "No single ship should do this. No species should do this." Inside the Invictus, Nox's voice was calm over the intercom. "Attention all observers. You are seeing what humans can achieve when we combine ingenuity with imagination. We are not here to destroy. We are here to demonstrate potential, our own and yours." The alien fleets exchanged uneasy glances. Fear and curiosity warred within them. Some wanted to attack immediately, to test whether the Invictus could truly defend itself. Others hesitated, sensing that the humans were different from what they had faced before. The hum of the ship settled into a steady rhythm, like a heartbeat. It was almost human. And in that moment, the galaxy paused. No one moved. No one spoke. Only the stars bore witness to a new force entering the cosmic stage. Captain Nox turned to her first officer. "Begin the approach to the outer quadrant. Let them talk among themselves. We have shown strength, but now we must show restraint." The Invictus glided forward slower than before, but with undeniable presence. In the minds of the alien observers, one thought began to take hold. Humans were not weak. Humans were not to be underestimated. And the Invictus. The Invictus was not just a ship. It was a warning and a promise. A promise that humans had arrived. A promise that the galaxy would never see them the same way again. And somewhere deep inside every officer aboard those alien fleets, a single unspoken thought took root. If one human ship could do this, what else could they achieve? As the Invictus moved past the neutral zone, the whispers began. From distant command bridges across communication relays through sensor grids, whispers of fear, respect, and fascination. Humanity had arrived, and it had arrived not with noise, not with chaos, but with quiet strength. The silent arrival of the HSS Invictus was only the beginning. Weeks had passed since the HSS Invictus silently entered the neutral zone. The galaxy had not forgotten. Every fleet, every empire, and every council in the Galactic Union had observed the human warship with awe and unease. Whispers of its capabilities spread like wildfire. No species had ever seen technology so advanced, so precise, and yet so restrained. The Galactic Council decided it was time to act. Not out of malice, but out of caution. They could not allow a single ship to remain unchecked, especially one that belonged to the unpredictable humans. A challenge was issued, a joint fleet drill. It was framed as a test of skill, diplomacy, and coordination. In reality, it was a measure to see how far the Invictus could truly go. On Earth, news of the Council's challenge reached the Terran Federation. Scientists, engineers, and strategists prepared. Captain Alara Nox walked the corridors of the Invictus, observing her crew as they moved with purpose. There was no fear aboard this ship, only focus, discipline, and quiet confidence. "Are they expecting us to fail?" asked Lieutenant Aaron, glancing at the holographic map that displayed the positions of dozens of alien fleets. Nox shook her head. They expect humans to play by their rules. We never do. That is why they fear us. The drill began in the Orion Expanse, a neutral sector chosen for its vast open space and lack of planetary bodies. The fleets gathered like a storm on the horizon. Sleek Aurelian cruisers with their reflective hulls, massive Meridian dreadnoughts shimmering with crystalline armor, and the legendary Vraxian carriers, known for overwhelming firepower and relentless tactics. Together, they formed a fleet so large it could annihilate a moon in a single strike. And then there was one human ship. The Invictus moved slowly, deliberately, its shadow stretching across the void. Every alien officer studied it, looking for weaknesses, trying to find the flaw in humanity's creation. They expected a small weapon, weak shields, or predictable behavior. They were wrong. The Invictus did not fire immediately. It did not dodge or retreat. Instead, it waited. Its sensors scanned the fleets, reading not just energy signatures but movements, formations, and even subtle changes in communication patterns. Captain Knox watched carefully, her eyes following each ship, predicting what it would do before it even realized it could. "Captain," said Aaron, "they're positioning themselves for a coordinated strike. The Aurelians are forming the vanguard, Meridians on the flanks, Vraxians in the rear." Knox nodded. "Good. Let them form their plan. Understanding comes before action. Humans fight smart, not just fast." Time seemed to stretch. The alien fleets moved in unison, confident that their numbers and firepower would overwhelm a single human vessel. Energy beams flared, ships adjusted their shields, and tactical calculations raced across command bridges. Then the Invictus acted. A single pulse of energy burst from the human warship's core. Unlike conventional weapons, it did not destroy, it disabled. The pulse reached out in waves, neutralizing the Aurelian flagship's shields and locking its engines. Systems across the fleet began to falter as the Invictus electronic warfare penetrated deeper than any alien device could reach. "Impossible," shouted Admiral Lorikith from her command bridge. "How can a single ship control so many systems?" Knox's voice remained calm over the communications channels. "We are not here to destroy. We are here to demonstrate understanding." Observe carefully, the Invictus struck again. This time, a targeted energy beam arced across the void, carefully disabling the Meridian dreadnoughts' weapon arrays without damaging their hulls. Every move was precise, calculated, and non-lethal. The human warship did not aim to kill. It aimed to control the battlefield with intelligence. Aaron watched the results on the tactical display. "Captain, we've neutralized more than half their fleet. They can't fire a maneuver. Their systems are frozen, but no one is harmed." Knox nodded. "Exactly. Humans fight not to kill, but to protect. That is our strength." The alien fleets panicked. Some tried to retreat, but the Invictus anticipated every maneuver. Its sensors tracked each ship, every evasive action, predicting patterns and adjusting its energy pulses accordingly. Within minutes, the combined fleet was immobilized, their weapons useless, their engines locked. On board the Invictus, crew members exchanged glances, a mixture of pride and focus. This was what they had trained for, yet they were careful. The line between showing strength and provoking fear was thin. Humans knew that too much force could lead to a war they did not want. In the alien fleets, officers argued, "We can't attack. Our systems are frozen. This is unprecedented." "Do not underestimate them," warned a Vraxian captain. "They are not like any species we have faced. Their technology, their intelligence, it's beyond calculation." Knox stood at the center of the bridge, hands clasped behind her back. "Remember," she said softly to her crew, "we fight not to conquer but to teach. Let them see the power of restraint." The Invictus released another wave of energy, not to harm, but to gently push the disabled ships into safe positions. No collisions occurred. No life was endangered. It was a demonstration of control, of discipline, and of human ingenuity. Across the galaxy, whispers spread through communication channels and secure transmissions. Messages reached fleets that had not even been present. A single human ship has disabled a combined armada. They do not fight like others. This is terrifying. The drill concluded without a single casualty. The alien fleets, though unharmed, had learned a lesson they would not forget. Humans were not merely fighters. They were strategists, thinkers, and visionaries, and the Invictus represented everything humanity could achieve when intellect met courage. As the alien fleets withdrew, Captain Knox addressed her crew. Today we proved that strength alone is not victory. Knowledge, discipline, and understanding win battles before they begin. Remember this. Humanity's power lies not in destruction, but in restraint and cleverness. Aaron looked at her with admiration. Captain, do you think they understand our message? Knox smiled faintly. Some may. Others will fear it. That is their choice. Our duty is clear, to show what humans are capable of, not to dictate how others feel about it. In the days that followed, reports reached the Galactic Council. The Invictus had completed the challenge in a way no one expected. No one had been harmed, yet the fleets had been fully neutralized. The human warship had demonstrated a new principle. Power tempered with wisdom was far more formidable than brute force. Council members met in secret. The question was not whether the humans were powerful. They were. The question was what they would do next. And a more unsettling thought grew in their minds. If humans could build one ship like the Invictus, what else might they build in the future? Back on the Invictus, Knox stared out at the endless stars. We have shown them today what humans can achieve. But this is only the beginning, she whispered. The galaxy must learn to respect us, not out of fear, but out of understanding. The crew continued their duties, preparing for whatever the galaxy might send next. They knew this victory would not end the whispers, the fears, or the challenges. Other fleets would watch, other empires would plot. And yet the Invictus stood as a symbol. Humanity was here, strong, clever, and unyielding. In quiet moments, as the stars reflected on the Invictus hull, one thought persisted among the crew. Humans had proven that intelligence, restraint, and creativity could surpass sheer numbers and raw power. And in a universe where countless species competed for dominance, that truth was more valuable than any weapon. The first test was over. Humans had not only survived, they had shown the galaxy what they were truly capable of. And as the Invictus glided silently through the void, a single certainty remained. The galaxy would never underestimate humanity again. The galaxy had taken notice. News of the HSS Invictus and its incredible performance during the Joint Fleet Drill spread rapidly, carried by sensors, data relays, and interstellar communication networks. From the farthest reaches of the Union to the core systems near the Galactic Council, every officer, scientist, and diplomat spoke of the human ship. They did not speak with admiration alone. There was fear, too. The Galactic Council convened in secret chambers orbiting the neutral planet Zephyra. Representatives of every major race attended, their forms as varied as the stars themselves. Crystal-like beings from the Meridian Empire shimmered in the council lights. Braxian officers flexed their muscular frames, and the Aurelian delegates radiated authority in their polished armor. Council Speaker Trelketh began the session. His voice resonated through the chamber with the authority of centuries. The humans have crossed lines no species should cross. One ship, untested in real conflict, has disabled a fleet that represents the combined strength of our empires. A murmur spread across the council. Some delegates shook their heads in disbelief. Others clenched fists, angry at the audacity of humanity. Councillor Yalara of the Meridian spoke next. We have underestimated humans for too long. They are unpredictable, clever, and dangerous. The Invictus is not merely a weapon. It is a statement. Speaker Trelketh nodded gravely. Indeed, there are whispers among our fleets. Reports suggest the Invictus can disable systems, manipulate energy in ways unknown to us, and evade attacks without moving. We cannot ignore this. We must decide, how do we respond? The room was silent for a moment. Fear hung in the air like a thick fog. Every species present understood the implications. Humans were no longer a minor power at the edge of the galaxy. They were a force unlike any other. Meanwhile, aboard the Invictus, Captain Alara Knox and her crew remained unaware of the full extent of the Council's panic. They had returned to the Orion Expanse, carrying out routine patrols, conducting system checks, and ensuring the ship remained in peak condition. Humans did not celebrate victories with displays of power. They focused on learning, preparing, and improving. Lieutenant Aaron approached Knox with concern. Captain, we're receiving unusual signals. Encrypted communications from multiple species. They seem hostile, but they are not direct attacks. Knox studied the incoming messages. Let them speak. Humans listen before they respond. Fear grows when words go unanswered. The messages were varied. Some were warnings. Do not enter our space. Some were threats. One wrong move and your ship will be destroyed. Others were strange offers, alliances, secret agreements and proposals to share technology. Knox frowned. They do not understand. We do not seek war. The Invictus was built to protect, not conquer. Aaron hesitated. But Captain, some of them clearly fear us. What if they decide to strike first? Knox's eyes were calm, unwavering. Then we will defend. Always. But never attack unless we are forced. That is the difference between humans and empires that seek only power. Despite the human restraint, fear of the Invictus spread across the galaxy. Fleet commanders reported nightmares of a single human ship stopping entire armadas. Propaganda painted the Invictus as a near-mythical weapon, capable of erasing planets or controlling minds. Alien diplomats debated behind closed doors. The Vraxians, known for their brutality and strength, argued that the Invictus should be destroyed immediately. We cannot risk leaving such power unchecked, growled Commander Kraz. If humans are allowed to continue, they will dominate us all. The Aurelian delegates disagreed, preferring a cautious approach. We must study it, said Admiral Lorikith. If we attack, we provoke war. If we negotiate, perhaps we can learn from them. Or control them. Meanwhile, humans on Earth watched the news reports of the Council's discussions. Citizens whispered among themselves, excited but cautious. Humanity had long dreamed of being recognized in the galaxy. Now the galaxy recognized them, perhaps too well. On board the Invictus, life continued as usual. Crew members trained, repaired systems, and monitored nearby sectors. Captain Knox walked the bridge, observing her crew. She knew that fear often led to poor decisions, and she knew the galaxy's fear of humans was growing. Captain, said Science Officer Miri, the Council's fleets are increasing patrols near our patrol sectors. They are monitoring, but they have not engaged. Yet. Knox nodded. That is expected. Fear is slow but persistent. They will test us, observe us, and perhaps even try to provoke a mistake. Aaron asked, Do you think they'll come for us directly? Knox smiled faintly. Perhaps. But the Invictus is not just a ship. It is a symbol of human resilience. If they attack, they will learn that humans fight to protect, not out of cruelty. That is a lesson they will not forget. The days passed and the whispers of fear became louder. Entire sectors reported unusual activity. Alien fleets that had once ignored human patrols now altered courses, avoiding areas where the Invictus might appear. Economies shifted as trade routes were reconsidered. Even civilian colonies discussed the human threat in hushed tones, unsure whether to fear or respect the newcomers. Yet amid this tension, Captain Knox remained calm. She gathered her officers in the strategy room. We must prepare for every scenario. We are not aggressive, but we are ready. Always remember, the galaxy fears what it does not understand. Let us show them that humans are strong, wise, and capable of restraint. The crew listened carefully. Each member understood that their actions were not just about survival. They were about shaping the galaxy's perception of humanity. Every maneuver, every decision, every act of discipline reinforced the human image. One day a transmission arrived from an unexpected source, the Council itself. The message was clear, polite, and unnervingly precise. Humans, the Council requests a meeting. There are matters of concern regarding your recent demonstrations. Attendance is required. Knox read the message, then looked at her crew. It is time. The galaxy wants answers. We will meet them as humans always have, with honesty, courage, and clarity. The journey to the Council chambers was tense. Every fleet, every station, and every observation post watched the Invictus move with careful precision. Humans did not hide, yet they did not flaunt. The ship's presence was commanding, yet calm. When the Invictus arrived at Zephyra, the Council's representatives gathered to witness it firsthand. No holograms, no remote sensors. They wanted to see the human ship in person, up close, and assess the threat themselves. Captain Knox stepped onto the observation deck, her crew beside her. They fear us, she said softly to Aaron. Not because of what we do, but because of what we could do. Fear is a tool. We must not let it become a weapon against us. Inside the Council chambers, murmurs spread as the Invictus settled into position. Every representative felt the weight of the human presence. It was not threatening, yet impossible to ignore. Humans had arrived, and the galaxy had no choice but to acknowledge them. Counselor Yalara spoke, her voice steady but carrying tension. "Captain Knox, the Council wishes to understand your intentions. Your ship has demonstrated extraordinary capabilities. We must ask why. What is humanity's goal?" Knox smiled faintly. "Our goal is simple: to protect our people, to explore, and to show that intelligence and discipline can achieve what brute force cannot. The Invictus was built not to conquer, but to demonstrate what humans can achieve when we combine knowledge, creativity, and courage." The chamber was silent. Some representatives exchanged uneasy glances. Others whispered to aides, unsure whether Knox spoke truth or strategy. Fear and respect were tangled together in every mind. "You understand," Knox continued, "that power without wisdom can destroy entire civilizations. We have learned from our past. The Invictus embodies that lesson. It is not a weapon to dominate, it is a shield to defend." Even the counselors who had feared humans could not deny the truth. The words, paired with the sheer presence of the ship, carried weight. Humans had not bragged. They had not threatened. They had shown strength and offered wisdom in its place. Yet fear lingered. The galaxy had never seen a species combine power, intelligence, and restraint in such a way. And while some began to admire humans, others began plotting. If the humans were this strong now, what might they achieve in the future? Knox returned to the Invictus, her crew following closely. "The Council has heard us," she said. "Some will understand, some will fear. But humanity must always stand ready. We do not strike first, but we protect what is ours. And that is the foundation of our strength." The whispers of fear did not disappear. They grew, spreading from fleet to fleet, from planet to planet. Yet through it all, one truth became clear. Humans were no longer to be underestimated. The Invictus had proven that intelligence, courage, and restraint could surpass any weapon, any fleet, and any empire. And as the Invictus glided silently through the stars once more, the galaxy understood that this was only the beginning. Humans had arrived, and their presence would change the balance of power forever. The quiet of space was deceptive. Stars sparkled like distant promises, yet between them, tension roiled unseen. Across the galaxy, fleets adjusted positions and council chambers buzzed with secret meetings. Fear of the HSS Invictus had grown into a simmering storm, one that threatened to erupt into open conflict. On Earth, the Terran Federation received the official message from the Galactic Council. Every major planetary system had copies, each word calculated to send a clear warning. The Invictus is hereby restricted. Its weapons are forbidden under the Galactic Peace Accord. The ship must be dismantled immediately. The words were precise, leaving no room for interpretation. They were not a request. They were an ultimatum. In the command center of the Invictus, Captain Alara Knox read the message aloud. The room was silent, save for the quiet hum of the ship's engines. "So," Knox said, her voice calm, yet heavy with meaning, "they want us to surrender our strength because they fear it. Humanity has never yielded to threats before, and we will not start now." Lieutenant Aaron frowned. "Captain, they could be serious. Entire fleets are gathering. If we refuse, it could spark war." Knox shook her head. "They misunderstand us if they think we will kneel. The Invictus was not built to provoke, but to protect. We do not attack, but we also do not allow threats to go unanswered." The Terran Federation immediately went on high alert. Engineers worked to ensure every system was optimized, weapons calibrated, and shields strengthened. Strategists examined possible scenarios, calculating fleet movements, alien tactics, and potential outcomes. Humans had always relied on preparation and adaptability, knowing that sheer power alone was not enough to survive in the galaxy. In orbit around Earth, the Invictus became the heart of a growing defense network. Smaller human ships, long considered secondary, were upgraded and positioned strategically. Satellites and drones extended the ship's sensors across vast distances, creating an invisible shield that allowed no enemy approach unnoticed. Meanwhile, the alien fleets gathered at the edge of the Sol system. Representatives from the Aurelian Empire, the Vraxians, and the Meridian Coalition had formed a joint armada. Their ships numbered in the thousands, bristling with weapons and shields. Every captain believed that the humans would either comply or be destroyed, yet the Invictus remained calm. It did not flee. It did not signal aggression. Its presence alone was a challenge. A statement. Humans would protect themselves, their people, and their ideals without surrendering their dignity. On the bridge, Nox observed the alien fleet through the main viewport. Their ships glimmered with power, energy beams charging and weapons rotating into position. Even with overwhelming numbers, the Invictus did not waver. "Captain," said Aaron, "they're moving into attack formations. It looks like they want to intimidate us." Nox's eyes were steady. "Let them. Intimidation is a reflection of their fear, not their strength. Remember, humans fight with intelligence and restraint. We do not need to strike first." As the Armada approached, the Invictus began subtle maneuvers not to engage, but to position itself strategically. Sensors scanned the enemy ships, predicting their paths, energy outputs, and likely tactics. Every calculation showed one truth. The Invictus could not only survive the fleet, but neutralize it if necessary. Back on the alien flagship, Admiral Laura Kith of the Aurelians studied the Invictus. Her crystalline form reflected the starlight as she spoke to her council. "It stands there alone. We have the numbers, the power, and yet it does not panic. It does not yield. There is something almost alive in that vessel, something beyond our understanding," Commander Kraz of the Vraxians growled. "Enough with admiration. We cannot let a single ship dictate terms to the galaxy." "Attack! Show them we do not fear humans!" Laura Kith hesitated, her fingers tightening around the controls. "If we attack first, we risk escalation. But if we do not, humans will continue to grow stronger unchecked." The debate raged, but time was passing. The Invictus maintained its course, silent and confident. Crew members moved calmly, adjusting systems, monitoring energy levels, and preparing for every possibility. Humans had always thrived under pressure, turning crises into opportunities. Then the Council sent another communication, an ultimatum in person. Representatives demanded a direct meeting between Captain Nox and the Council. Nox agreed, knowing that diplomacy was a weapon just as powerful as any cannon. The meeting took place in orbit around Zephyra, in a chamber shielded from interference. Nox stepped forward, her crew behind her, and addressed the assembly of counselors and diplomats. "You have sent fleets to intimidate and ultimatums to control," Nox began. "Humans do not respond to threats with surrender. We respond with understanding, preparation, and strength. The Invictus is not a weapon of conquest. It is a shield of protection. We seek peace, not dominance." Counselor Ylara spoke, her voice edged with tension. "Captain Nox, your words are admirable, but the galaxy fears your power. You have disabled fleets without harming them. You have demonstrated technology we cannot match. Why should we trust that humans will not one day turn that power against us?" Nox's gaze was steady. "Trust is built, not demanded. We have shown restraint. We have proven that humans fight only to defend, and yet fear is natural. You fear because you do not understand. I will not destroy your fleets, but I will protect my people. That is all any species can demand." The counselors whispered among themselves, some nodding, others frowning. The debate had shifted from threats to respect, but the underlying fear remained. Humans had introduced a new variable into galactic politics. Intelligence, restraint, and ingenuity combined in a way no species had anticipated. Returning to the Invictus, Nox addressed her crew. "The Council has seen us. Some will respect our principles, others will fear them. But our duty remains. Protect humanity, and show the galaxy what we are capable of when we act with wisdom and courage." Aaron looked at her worried. "Captain, they are still planning fleets, still sending fleets near our patrol zones. It's only a matter of time before someone decides to test us directly." Nox nodded. "Then we will be ready. Always. Humans prepare for the unexpected. That is why we survive when others fail. That is why we thrive." The fleets at the edge of the Sol system continued to assemble. Alien commanders debated strategy, unsure whether to strike or withdraw. Some argued that attacking would provoke a war they could not win. Others warned that inaction would allow humans to grow stronger. Through it all, the Invictus remained a calm presence, a silent reminder that humans did not act rashly, but decisively. Crew members moved with precision, checking systems, running simulations, and preparing for scenarios ranging from diplomacy to full engagement. "Captain," said Miri, "sensor readings show they are testing their weapons at range. No direct engagement yet, but they are calibrating for combat." Nox observed the distant fleets. "Let them test. Every action, every calculation will teach them a lesson. They will learn that humans do not fear power, but we respect its use. That is our advantage. As the sun rose over Earth's horizon, casting long light across the Invictus hull, Nox looked toward the stars. The galaxy wants to ban us, to restrict what we have built. But humans do not surrender their potential. We do not bow to fear. We defend, we endure, and we thrive. That is who we are. The silence of space was broken only by the faint hum of the Invictus engines. It glided through the void, a symbol of human ingenuity and resolve. The fleets around it paused, unsure of how to act. Every alien captain knew one thing: the humans were prepared. The humans were unyielding, and the humans, through the Invictus, were unlike anything the galaxy had faced before. The galactic ultimatum had been delivered. The humans had refused to comply. And now the stage was set for the next chapter, a confrontation that would test courage, strategy, and the limits of human ingenuity. Captain Nox turned to her officers. "Prepare the fleet. Monitor all sectors. We do not attack, but we are ready. Humanity will stand, and the galaxy will see that strength, intelligence, and restraint can change everything." The alien fleets hesitated, sensing the confidence of the Invictus. They had the numbers. They had the firepower, yet they lacked something crucial: understanding. Humans did not fight recklessly. Humans did not seek domination. Humans acted with foresight and precision. And in the quiet of space, that difference became the most powerful weapon of all. The vast darkness of space stretched endlessly, but it was no longer quiet. At the edge of the Sol system, the combined alien armada moved with purpose, their weapons charged, shields active, and sensors probing for weaknesses. Thousands of ships from the Aurelian Empire, the Vraxians, and the Meridian Coalition glimmered like a constellation of danger. And against them stood one human ship, the HSS Invictus. Captain Alara Nox stood on the bridge, her calm presence unshaken by the overwhelming numbers surrounding them. Her crew moved with quiet precision, ready to execute any command. They had trained for scenarios far beyond imagination, but nothing matched the tension of this moment. The entire galaxy watching, waiting to see if humanity would bend or break. "Captain," said Lieutenant Aaron, eyes scanning the sensor readouts. "They are forming attack formations. Their strategy is coordinated and relentless. They intend to test us fully." Nox nodded. "Let them. Humans do not strike first, but we will protect what is ours. Observe carefully, learn, and act with precision. That is how we survive, and that is how we win." The armada advanced. Energy beams flared across space, scanners probed, and drones darted forward, seeking to gather intelligence. The Invictus remained still, a calm presence in the storm, observing, calculating, and learning. Humans had never relied solely on power. They relied on foresight, strategy, and the ability to adapt faster than any opponent could anticipate. Then the first strike came, but not as expected. The alien fleets unleashed volleys of energy, expecting to overwhelm the Invictus. The beams passed harmlessly through empty space, redirected by the ship's advanced shielding. Energy pulses curved around the hull, absorbed and redistributed, leaving the Invictus unharmed. On board, the crew worked methodically, executing maneuvers that seemed almost impossible. Each movement, each calculation, neutralized threats without causing destruction. Humans had built a ship that fought without unnecessary violence. A vessel that understood that the greatest victory was survival and protection, not devastation, Captain, Aaron said, voice tight with awe. "Their formations are changing. They're confused. It's as if they cannot predict us." Nox's lips curved in a faint smile. "Exactly. They plan by expectation. Humans act by observation and understanding. Let them learn the difference." The alien commanders felt the same confusion. Admiral Laura Kith of the Aurelians watched her fleet falter, unable to coordinate effectively against the Invictus. Commander Kraz of the Vraxians growled in frustration. "They anticipate everything. One ship, one human ship. How is this possible?" The Invictus did not attack. It simply neutralized, countered, and controlled. Within minutes, the combined armada found their engines locked, weapon systems frozen, and communication arrays disrupted. No ships were destroyed, no lives taken. But the result was clear. The fleets could not move, could not fight, and could not threaten the human ship. Across the galaxy, reports reached distant planets and council chambers. The story was almost unbelievable. A single human ship had neutralized an armada without firing a single destructive shot. Whispers of awe, Fear and admiration spread faster than light. Captain Knox addressed the alien fleets over secure comm channels. Her voice was calm, firm, and without threat. This demonstration is complete. We do not seek war. We have protected ourselves and shown restraint. Humanity does not strike without reason. You may resume your positions unharmed. The alien commanders hesitated. The display had been undeniable. Their fleets were intact yet powerless. Some felt relief, others humiliation. The humans had proven one thing. Strength combined with intelligence and discipline was unbeatable. In the council chambers of Zifera, the Galactic Council met again. They understood that the Invictus had not been reckless. It had not attacked unnecessarily. It had demonstrated a level of strategy and wisdom that no species had ever encountered. Council Speaker Trelketh spoke with measured authority. The humans have shown us what we feared, but also what we must respect. The Invictus is unlike any weapon we know. It cannot be controlled, replicated, or dismissed. It is too powerful to exist freely among the stars. Counselor Yalara nodded. We cannot destroy it. We cannot ignore it. And yet it cannot remain active. It has become a symbol of human capability beyond what the galaxy is prepared to accept. A decision was made. The Invictus would not be dismantled, but it would be banned. The ship would be relocated to a hidden sector, far from trade routes, battle zones, and observation posts. No fleet would dare approach. The humans were not defeated, but their warship would never sail again. Back on the Invictus, Captain Knox received the Council's message. She understood the implications. Humans had not lost, they had survived, protected, and demonstrated their strength and principles. Yet the galaxy's fear was real, and the Council's decision reflected caution, not malice. Captain, Aaron said quietly, they are banning the ship, not destroying it, but hiding it. Will the humans accept that? Knox's eyes were calm. We accept it because we understand their fear. We do not fight out of pride. Humanity survives not by conquest, but by wisdom. One day the Invictus may be needed again. Until then it will rest, and humanity will continue to grow, learn, and prepare. The crew followed her orders with solemn pride. They guided the Invictus through uncharted sectors, to a region of space shielded by ancient asteroid fields and gravitational anomalies. There the ship was sealed, its systems maintained, and its legacy preserved. Humans would remember this moment as a victory not of destruction, but of principle. Even as the Invictus disappeared into the hidden sector, its legend spread across the galaxy. Stories told of the human warship that could stop fleets without harming a single life. Tales of its power, intelligence, and restraint became folklore, inspiring awe and caution among every species. On Earth, Captain Knox and her crew were celebrated quietly. They had not returned in triumph with cannons blazing, but in a manner far greater. They had changed the galaxy's perception of humanity forever. Humans were no longer weak, reckless, or insignificant. They were clever, disciplined, and capable of protecting themselves in ways the galaxy had never imagined. Centuries later, travelers would still whisper of the Invictus, the human ship so powerful that it was banned. Some claimed it slept, waiting for a time when humanity truly needed it. Others said it watched silently, guarding the descendants of Earth from the shadows. A silent sentinel of human ingenuity. And in every story, one truth remained constant. A single human ship had shown the galaxy that strength alone was not victory. Intelligence, restraint, courage, and moral clarity could achieve what weapons and fleets alone never could. In the quiet reaches of space, the Invictus rested, a monument to humanity's potential. And in the hearts of humans everywhere, the knowledge persisted. No matter the challenge, no matter the opponent, humanity would endure. Humanity would rise, and humanity would always stand strong. The legend of the human warship. So strong, it was banned, became a beacon. A reminder to all species that humans were not to be underestimated, that restraint could be more powerful than aggression, and that the cleverness, courage, and discipline of humanity could shape the destiny of the galaxy. And so, the Invictus remained hidden, silent yet eternal, a symbol of what humanity could achieve, a lesson to the galaxy, and a promise that one day, if the need arose, humans would rise again to defend all that they loved. The stars shimmered above, indifferent yet witness to history, and somewhere in the darkness the Invictus waited, ready, patient, and unyielding. Humanity had proven itself. The galaxy had learned its lesson, and the legend of the Invictus would never be forgotten.